everybody, and welcome. I'm hoping you can hear me and see me well. I was a few minutes late jumping on because I had no sound. So hopefully you can hear. Um, and today is Friday, August 30th. I really can't believe we're at the end of August already. But tonight I have a really fun stamp set to show you with some lots of ideas of how to use the stamps and how to use the dies. And actually, there's so much you can do with this bundle that I actually broke it up into two classes. One tonight, and then we'll finish up using one of the dies when we do our fun fold on Monday evening. So, hi, Mary, you're waiting on rain. We're due tomorrow morning, and thank goodness it's going to cool it off. Thank you, Mary, for joining me, both of you. So, hopefully, you can hear me, and we are going to get started. So, today I chose to use the Round We Go bundle. This was one of the first bundles that really caught my eye. Hi, Kathy, in hot in Colorado. This was one of the first bundles that caught my eye because it's so different from what we have had in the past. I love the pinwheels that you can make with it. But on Monday, I posted on my Facebook page, just real quick to tell you, 4 stamp sets that I've bought in the last year that I haven't used. And I put a post up saying, do you have stamp sets that you haven't used in the last year? If so, what is it? And if you post a card by later today, on tomorrow, I'd pick a random person for a prize drawing. So I kind of challenged myself to use one of those stamp sets that I've not used yet, and it was Round We Go. And I found so many possibilities with using them that I wanted to share those with you tonight. So I'm going to flip this down because we have a lot to go over. Now, we aren't going to make all the cards, but I'm going to show you 3 cards. But I am going to show you lots of techniques and things that we can do. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining. So let's flip this down. Okay, this is the stamp set and dies we're using. Lots of greetings, lots of different fonts. I love it. These are really fun to play with. I'm going to show you some different ways to do that. But these dies are amazing, and I have lots of die cuts to show with you. Mary has this bundle and she loves it, so that's exciting. So we're going to use every die but this one. This one we're going to use on Monday night. So this is like a 2-part series. So I'm going to move this off and we're going to get started. Now, I am using in colors. I am using, and let me pull those in for you. I'm using Summer Splash, Petunia Pop, Peach Pie, and I'm using the new Basic Beige, which is the first time I've used it. So, and I was pretty happy with it. And the other thing I'm using is the 2024-2026 in color glimmer papers. I'm using those for some of my pinwheels, and I'm going to pair them up with the matching cardstock. So let's move this off, and I'm going to start off with our Basic Beige. Now, one of the things that I don't do well is create my own backgrounds, but this is a great stamp set to do this. So I challenged myself to create a tone-on-tone background using Basic Beige with this Basic Beige stamp pad. So my Basic Beige, because it's not been used a lot, is pretty wet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a spoon and I'm just going to pull this off to the side. Now I'm going to show you several different things I did to make a card, and then I'm going to show you the finished card. In the end, we are going to make one card. So what I did is I took this large stamp and I inked it up. Now this is photopolymer, so I'm big on using my what is it, piercing mat. And I just started kind of stamping in different places. And I should have a piece of paper here, and I don't, so let's put this here. I just stamped off for partial images and over to here. I'm going to turn this around. We're going to do one in the middle. And then I'm going to do one over on the corner here. And that looks pretty good, tone on tone, and I was happy with that. Well, then I wanted to use the dies. So I want to show you the dies that I used. I used cardstock for my dies, and I used pumpkin pie and what did I use? Lost Lagoon. Now, these are the two dies that I used, and I have glitter paper to show you what they came out like, and they're two different sizes. So I have one here in, what is it? It is Petunia Pop, and I cut one out of the cardstock, and I cut one out of the glitter. Now, on the card I'm going to show you, I actually cut one out of pumpkin pie and one out of Lost Lagoon. And then what I did is I matched these up. And I used these two that are close together to match up. And I put them one on top of the other. And then I simply turned them one petal. And I want to show you what you'll get. Let me move that over a little bit. And you get this beautiful flower that I'm going to actually take a glue dot or a dab of glue. Hi, Ann. Thank you for joining. And you have this beautiful pinwheel. You could use it as a flower, I suppose, to be able to, let's put a dot of glue there. And then I'm going to go back to my two that are close together and then just simply move that around. And you have this beautiful pinwheel that's two-tone, part glitter and part, part glitter and part cardstock. I had to stop and think of what the word was I was trying to come up with. And I just want to get this a little bit better. Here we go. So you do want to line them up in the middle, and then they will go right into the opposite sides or opposite spaces of the other one. But it's important to line them up. So let's just move that over. There we are. All right, so here's one. So that's what I did. Now, the other thing I did with this, I want to show you with these stamps, is you have two centers. Now, remember, you have a big stamp and a small stamp here. Well, you have a big center and a small center. So this is for the big one. So I'm just going to grab that, and we're going to add a little bit to the center of these pinwheels. Now, you could double stamp these, and I'll show you what that is in just a minute. But let's grab our Summer Splash, and we're going to stamp these in the center. So let's stamp that here. I'm going to stamp that very well. We'll stamp off here. Get half of a circle, and I'm going to restamp this one. There we go. All right, and then I went ahead and I stamped, I added it to a card base. So let me show you the card. Here's the card that I did with the pumpkin pie and Lost Lagoon. And you can see I did use some different colors here. But then I rearranged my different pinwheels around the base. Now we're going to use these for a card. but lots of opportunities. And then on the inside, I stamped the pinwheel and then actually stamped my greeting over it just for a little bit. So there's one background. There's how to cut your dies and make them. So that's one card. Now I want to show you another idea to use with this. For this next card, we're going to use the smaller stamp. And this one, let me pull it in so you can see the difference. One has a pointed edge and it is a smaller image, and one has a rounded edge. And you do have matching dies to cut these out. And I had them here, and I'm not sure where they went. Oh, my goodness, right in front of me. You have one here for this one, and you have one here for this one. Then you have two more, and I'm going to show you how to use these. So let's go to this smaller one, and we're going to stamp another background, but this one's going to be all different colors. So I'm going to start off with my Petunia Pop and just ink it up, and I'm going to stamp. Going to ink again and stamp in the middle. And let's ink over here, and I'm just going to stamp a little bit off the corner. All right, now we're going to clean this. And I'm going to come in with my peach pie, and we're going to stamp a few of these. All right, so let's do this. And let's stamp one here. All right. And then we're going to come back in with our summer splash and just fill in a little bit. Clean that off, and we're ready to stamp. So I'm going to come in here and do that here. Let's do this here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this one off, but let's see. They kind of overlapped, and I'm okay with that. So just to show you the background. Now, you could go ahead and take the small center and go ahead and match your centers up or use a different color and actually pop those in. But I want to show you what I did for the front of the card and what you can do to add some color. So we're going to bring in a piece of basic white, and I'm going to go back to the big stamp, and I am going to use my peach pie. So let's grab that big one, and we're going to ink this up, and let's grab our piercing mat, and I'm going to stamp down. And you could pick up and stamp again, which is what I want to do. I simply moved it over one, give it a good press, stamped off, and let's pick that up and show you. You can see light and dark. Now, if you wanted that a little bit darker, you could go ahead and restamp it, re-ink it, stamp it off, and then stamp, but I'm good with that. Now, the other thing I want to show you is we're going to cut this out. And we are going to use this die, and I'm going to go ahead and tape it down so that we can get it. But I want to show you some of these centers. So we have all these other little pieces and parts here, and I want to show you those. So I cut some centers out of the circle with glitter. So that's one option. The other option is we have two dies, and I had them here. My goodness, where'd they go? Well, they'll pop up and show up, I'm hoping. But one of them cuts out these circles, and you actually just lay it in here when you're cutting out your flower. And here it is, and it will impress it for you. So let me show you this. So we're going to lay, this is all lined up and ready to cut. And then I'm going to lay this down, and we're going to take that down too. And then I'm just going to run over right behind me to my cut and emboss machine and bring it up front here. And you aren't going to be able to see it because it's off to the side. But we're going to put this, I'm using my mini. We have plate number 1 and then both plate number 2. And we're going to run this through here. And I want to show you what that center is actually going to look like. It's actually beautiful. So let's do that. And let's take this out. So here's our pinwheel. Let's take our tape off. So I think so many opportunities, but look at that pinwheel that you have with the design in it. And you have 2 different sizes. You have a small one for the smaller pinwheel, and then you have this one for the larger. And you could even run both in there and get 2 different designs. So lots that you can do with it. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use, let's use the Summer Splash and put that in the center. But then I'm going to show you what I did with that background we made. And we're going to use this for another card. So stay with me because I have some more tricks for you. So here's the card I made with that background that I stamped. And I used the large pinwheel. I popped it up with 1 dimensional. And then I added, made a second pinwheel of that smaller stamp and added one with the glitter. Now, these are cards that you may not be able to put, hi Renee, you may not be able to put in the mail. This might be a card because of these pinwheels that you hand to somebody when you give them a gift or when you see them rather than pop in the mail. But here's what I did with that background and those different dies. Yes, you could, Renee. You could sew embroidery floss through that. That's a great idea. So here's one. Now I want to show you something else because this I loved. All of these dies in cutting my pinwheels, you can see I use them to actually, you could make a background with these dies. And I just want to give you an idea of how to do that. So I took my cardstock and I simply brought in my blending brushes, and we're not going to do the whole piece, but I think it's fun to show you what you can do with it and a little bit of how to do it. Now you do have these real fine edges here. And so in order to not bend those and not get a good image, you have to go around in a circle. So I'm just dabbing that off and I'm simply going to go around. I don't want it too dark. And I did get some here, but I should have masked that off. So let's do another one. I'm going to put this here. Now I have Post-it notes that I'm going to use to mask. So let's do that. And these are going to come right up. And let's do another one in the peach pie. Simply going in a circle, those are going to stay down for you and you're going to get a really nice image. You can go as light or as dark as you want to. So there's that one. Let's pull these off. And I just want to give you an idea of what these would look like. So there's one. Now let's do this pointed one. I'm going to do this in the center. And I am going to mask this down just to show you what you do. You do want to mask it so you don't carry your color from one over onto another flower. And this is just 2 Post-it notes that I cut. So let's do this one in, let's do the Summer Splash. All right, so I have another brush. This one I'm using a mini, just because it's what I grabbed. And simply going around, those little points are going to stay in place, and you'll be able to get a really nice image. Now I want this one a little bit darker, so I'm just going to go over it. And remember, you can go back over it and lay down more color. You can't take color off. So just going in a nice circle. And that's not real dark, but let's take it off and just take a look. So that's something that you can do with these die cuts that can make your cards really interesting for a background. And that first one I didn't do so well because I missed the center, but look at that. So you can use these, which I love using blending brushes with like a stencil. So what I've actually done is made my own stencil. So just another idea for this great bundle. So let me move this out of the way here. All right, so you saw 2 with backgrounds. So I wanted to just use what we have here and thought we'd make an easy card. So I took a piece of basic white and I embossed it. And for this embossing folder, I used the cute crochet embossing folder. And I chose that because it reminded, the design reminded me of the pinwheels from our bundle. So let's go ahead. And this is going to be just an easy card design. But I wanted you to see one where we did not have a stencil or colored background. And I am using black and white because I think that just helped the pinwheels to show up really well. And then I have this one, and I have this one. We have our petunia pop, and then I have this one. So we can easily just pop these up with a dimensional. And I'm just using one on the center. Again, this is not a card I would mail. I'm just going to put it here. And then let's put this Summer Splash right here. And then you can add, when we're done, you can add any type of greeting that you want to. Now, I didn't pre-stamp a greeting, and we're not even going to put a greeting on this one. But I did want to show you, once we had these made, pretty much how you could use them. So I'm going to bring this in here, and then I'm just going to add that one there. And then this would get mounted on a piece of basic white, which I have here. And I'm using just basic white cardstock because I have it layered so much. I did not use the thick. But then if we were to glue that down, here's our card where we've added these great little pinwheels that really, there's no limit as to what you can do with them, or even with the stencils from the die cuts. So let's put this down and just glue that down. And then I'd probably add my greeting down here, and you have another card. So using, whether you're using cardstock like I did over here, with a background, or you're mixing, doing double stamping, you could use two different inks here. You could use some of your shimmer papers, or whether you're just putting it on a card base. You have really lots of options for using this bundle. Let me bring you back to me. So I know it wasn't like we usually do where we make a card from beginning to end, but there's lots of different things you can do with this bundle. And I wanted to kind of show you some of the things you can do because you're all very creative. You'll be able to come up with all kinds of options for these cards. So I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I will be back on Monday with a fun fold, but during that fun fold, I'm going to teach you how to use this die to make a pinwheel, and we're going to use that on our fun fold. So I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope you stay safe and well. Thank you for joining me on Friday rather than Thursday due to our doggy's illness, and I hope you have a great holiday weekend, and I will see you on Monday at 7 o'clock. Bye, everybody.